Ciao everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Rebecca and I live in Italy, so I make videos in Italy. What else could I be doing here? Anyway, so this video is going to be about interviews in Italy, job interviews, and my experience is mainly surrounded by English teaching jobs in Italy. So I can't talk for if you wanted to be an engineer, if you wanted to be a pilot, if you wanted to be anything else. My experience is in the teaching area. That's what I'm going to talk about. So when coming to work in Italy as an English teacher or doing some type of job like teaching English, I would say just to have a thick skin and don't take anything personal. And this is what this video is basically about. It's just to let you know that I've experienced it, you may experience it, Jane experiences it, and Sarah also experiences it from the UK. People are experiencing these things, so don't take it to heart. Sometimes when you come here from a different country, sometimes you just feel a little bit more fragile and you don't know what the culture is here, how things work, what the professional or the workplace culture is. You don't know these things, the business culture is, whatever. You don't know these things. So I'm here just to say to you that don't worry, whatever happens, do this, guys. Brush it off your shoulders, don't stress, and please don't cry. Right? I have felt all types of different emotions finding work here, looking for work here, and you don't have to feel it. When I look back at all the times that I was upset and I felt sad, I look back and I think now, why did I use those emotions? Why did I waste my time? A lot of the time those jobs wasn't even worth it, or I'm okay now. Everything worked out. So I'm just going to talk to you about a couple of jobs that I have been for, job interviews that I have been for in the past, some of them the recent past, and how they went. So let me think about the first one that I want to give you the description on. All right, so the two scenarios is maybe a job that's desperate, a workplace, an English school that's desperate for somebody. There's always a difference when a school is desperate for teachers and when a school is not desperate for teachers. Or so the desperate one looks like this. They need teachers ASAP. Somebody's ran out of the school and they've left the school and left them in the lurch. So they just need teachers veloce, ASAP now. And this is something that you might find quite often because a lot of the times teachers have enough and they just had enough and they leave. And they don't tell the school. And of course, the school needs to find a new teacher. So this is where you might come in and this is where you might find this job. And the interview process just might look like this. You might go in, guys, you might call up or they might contact you somehow, but seldom. Generally, you call up this school and you'd be like, oh, do you need any person for a job? They might, yeah, come down tonight, come down tomorrow, come tomorrow morning. Quickly, you see the urgency. And the urgency sometimes can be a little bit like, okay. So when you see the urgency, sometimes just proceed with caution, okay? All right, so they might have the urgency, they might say to you, come in, they don't ask you for your CV, they don't ask you for nothing. And then you go to the school, okay, let me kind of link this to a scenario that happened to me beginning of last year. I went into the school, they called them, I went in and the lady was like, oh, hi, how are you? And I'm like, I'm fine, thank you. Sat down, had the interview, brought my CV with me. Did she ask for my CV, guys? No. I said to her, okay, so tell me a little bit about the school. She goes, all right, so this is the school here, this is what the school, how many kids, blah, blah. Oh, how many kids? I asked the question. Always important, guys, to ask how many kids, right, you're going to be dealing with. And this is a determining factor and a very important factor here, how many kids, because you can see how the school operates. If they're operating in the way that you want them to be operating, right, so she told me 23 children to one teacher. In my mind, I already know that this is going to be a no from me. I've been there and I've done it and it didn't end well for me. It ended in stress. So she said 23 teachers. Then she told me the hours of the day. I said, tell me the hours. So you'd be working from maybe 2 till maybe 8 o'clock or sometime like this. I was like, okay, all right, the working hours are not so bad. And what about the pay? No. She told me about the pay, this lady. So she goes, this is the pay, 550. When it worked out, it wasn't even minimum wage. 550, 23 kid. You do the sums. It didn't work out. Can you come tomorrow to start tomorrow? But you've not even looked at my CV. You don't know who I am. And for me, that just tells me the level of the school. And if you really need the money, you can do this type of job, but it's just not going to end well. It's not, a lot of the time it's not going to end well. That's all I'm going to say, because it's unprofessional. They've literally taken somebody off the street, not vetted them, not checked them. They've not invested anything into you. And also the pay is bad and the contract was really bad too. It was just a crazy contract that didn't mean anything. So yeah, that can be a scenario, okay? That can be one scenario where it's a risk. And this is kind of like a worst case scenario. So you might go to a school and it might be, okay, can you come in? They're desperate for a teacher, and they might talk with you. I've never had where they've trained me. I've never, ever had where they said, come in and I'll train you. It's always head first in, jump in, let's go. Right? You're going to be teaching 20 kids the next day. You're going to be in with 20 kids. I asked this lady, am I going to have some type of training? Am I going to have this? Am I going to have this? It was pretty much a no. So anyway, of course, I left that in its tracks. You have to know when to say no to some things, okay? So another instance can be a school that is not desperate for teachers. So you go in, you've heard from a friend, for example, because a lot of things here happens it's about who you know and connections with your friend tells you about a job and of their job. But that's going to be for another video that I'm going to do anyway, because it's important to know this. And yeah, so for example, your friend might tell you there's a job at this school and you go to this school, but the job doesn't start until June, September or whenever. You might go for the interview and the person is quite relaxed in the interview and you just don't hear back from them. You had a good interview, you might have a good laugh, a good chat. You don't hear back from them. Or they take a long time to contact you back. Or just a lot of foot dragging. Again, that for me is proceed with caution. I believe that if somebody takes the energy to go to an interview, it's only right that you say yes, you contact them back, and along the way, and you say to them 2 days, no, don't make it, they shouldn't make it go on anything past 2 days to get in contact with that person. But that happens a lot here. You just don't hear anything. Right? So it's either this extreme, yeah, you got the job on the spot, or sometimes just take their time. They just take their good old time. Right, another thing that you might find when going into the interviews is that there is a pretty much a relaxed approach. Sometimes they might ask you for a CV at these schools and sometimes they don't. I always bring the CV and I have it in front of me, but they don't ask. Some of them are just not interested in the CV. I don't know why. It just all depends. I personally, if I owned the school, would want to see the CV. But yeah. So they might not ask you CV, but just the best practice, always bring a CV with you just in case. And if anything, leave it with them, because in one case, they've asked me after the interview. They've contacted me, called me after the interview and asked me for my CV. So just to save yourself extra work, just give them the CV. Just bring it and just leave it on the desk. Okay, just in case, keep it on file, give them the CV. Of course, do it all with a smile. And then, yeah, one of my most recent interviews that I went for, there was no structure to the interview at all. I went in and the person that was interviewing me had no questions for me, really. So I just used my initiative and I started to talk. Okay, so blah, blah, blah. I'm Rebecca, blah, 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 blah. I'm from here, I'm from there. But also you got to remember sometimes there's a language barrier. But there was somebody there that was translating. I, of course, was happy to speak in Italian as well. So that's fine. But it was just very relaxed. There was no interview questions. Just sat down. she had no paper, nothing there, and we just spoke for a little while, and then I left, and I've not heard anything back. There was no structure at all to the interview, so I was like a lot of the time in interview. So what now? I was putting in my call. Is the interview? Is it finished now? I don't know. It was strange, and then yeah. So you might find situations like that. And if you do get in a situation where there's no structure or anything to the interview, you just take a little bit of control, introduce yourself, talk about your experiences, whatnot. Just do that. Because I don't know if I said that before, that some schools maybe are not in a rush for teachers, so maybe they're just a little bit they're laid back. They maybe want teachers for the following September or something like that, so they're laid back. I think the best approach, what would be a good approach, is for the schools to hire the teachers earlier on, train them up a little bit, and then for them to start in September. But I've noticed that they take such a relaxed approach in May. It's like they're winding down for the summer, already winding down for the summer, and then after the summer they get into panic mode. They're like, oh my gosh, we don't have no teachers in September, we don't have no teachers, and then they go and pull any type of person from anywhere, and then it doesn't end well. It doesn't end well for the teachers because they've not been trained and they've been thrown in the deep end. Big one. And I put this over on TikTok last year after I went to an interview, and my TikTok went crazy. Everybody was like, okay, everybody put their 2 cents in. And I haven't opened up the app because I haven't, to read some of the comments and some of the advice that the Italian people gave to me, because the Italian people felt very strongly about this. One was contracts and asking about payment. And I told them, in that job that I went to, that scenario, I went for the interview, I spoke with the lady, she showed me around the school, guys, everything. Just at the end of the interview, I was like, God, is she going to talk about the pay and the contract? That's what I'm here for, I work, I do need money. So at the end, I was just ready to get up to walk through the door. So I was like, oh, so can you just tell me a little bit about the contract that you offer? She kind of looked at me. I was like, how dare I? So anyway, I proceeded to ask about the contract. So she said, oh, well, the contract is this contract. It was a good contract, I think. Yeah, it was a good contract. And then I said, okay, tell me about the pay. She goes, yeah, it'll be this pay to this pay. And I knew straight away that I shouldn't have asked the question. From her response, I knew that probably wasn't the best thing to do, Rebecca, to ask for a pay at an interview. So anyway, we left, and safe to say, I never heard from her again. Another one, this was for kind of like a sales job. Again, me and the man, we talked really nicely at the interview. When I came to ask about the payment and the contract, he wasn't happy. And again, we made it evident, and it was clear that I shouldn't have asked about the pay and the contract. So yeah, that was it. In fact, in that interview with this man, I even said to him, he said, oh, the pay would be this amount. I said, oh, okay, I would like a little bit more. I said to him, I would like a little bit more. Was that a mistake? Like, who do I think I am to ask for more money, right? So safe to say, I've still not heard from him. I've still not heard from this guy. Right, so yeah, guys, it all depends. I'm not saying it's all doom and gloom. I'm just saying these are some of the things that I've experienced. And if you've experienced them more than 10 times, you just kind of think, okay, this is just the way it goes. So on TikTok, in the comment section, if you on TikTok, you can go over there, and you can watch that video, and you will see under there everything that everybody wrote, the advice that Italians gave. And they was like, no, 90% of Italians said, no, do not ask about the pay. And then the rest was probably expats, and they was like, no, you need to ask about the pay. So you can see there's a big difference there. This is big disparity in terms of whether you should ask or whether you should not ask. And there's a big culture difference. Expats, believe that you should, and the Italians believe that maybe you shouldn't. But the Italians they were saying that it's wrong. They were saying it's wrong that you don't ask, but it's wrong that you shouldn't be able to ask. And yeah, that's where it was left. So I found that quite interesting. So I took on the advice of the Italian people in the comment section, and I went forward in my next interviews, and I've not asked. I've had one interview since then, and I've not asked. It's hard to kind of fathom that you're going for a job. When a job is advertised, if you see a job that's advertised and you don't get it through hearsay or through a friend or through a referral, and you see a job advertised and it doesn't state the pay, it's like, come on. And 95% of the jobs, especially the teaching jobs, are not going to state the pay. So you go there blindly to go for this job, and then you sit down at the interview where you're supposed to be able to ask about the pay, and they don't tell you about the pay in the contract, and they still don't tell you at the interview. But the advice that I got from TikTok was that you wait until they contact you back, and on the phone you can then raise the subject of the pay. Or even some people said when they call you back in. So when they call you back in, it's obviously to start the job. Then they will tell you about the pay and the contract. And in terms of the contract, in terms of the pay, I also was advised to go and look online for different bands, which band you could be in. There's band 2, band 3, band 4, and see which band you can be in for teaching. So I have to do all this. Why can't you just tell me? Why can't you just tell me how much I'm going to be on? So yeah, so that was the advice that I got from TikTok. It was all very mixed advice. We had a really good laugh in the comment section about, the way, what to do, which direction to go in. And some people said that it just depends on some employers, especially in these schools, they don't even know what they want to pay you. They're just probably looking at you to see, sizing you up, sizing up your experience, seeing what you're willing to take, and then they'll offer you a price, maybe. So this kind of like differs between schools, whichever school you go to or whichever organization that you go to. So yeah, that's basically it, guys. So contracts, I'm going to do a video about contracts. I'm going to do a video. The video I'll do will be about contracts and also pay bands, where to go to look for pay bands, the different pay bands in Italy. So what's the takeaway from this, guys? Just go with the flow. That's the takeaway from it. Each school is different, and there are some schools which will be upfront, and you can go there and they might be like, okay, this is the pay, this is the pay, this is that, and that's it. There's no negotiation, there's no nothing, that's it. When will you find this information out? All depends. You might find out at the interview, you might find out about it the day you start the job, and sometimes you might go to interview and expect to work straight away. They might be like, come on, you need to be in it now. But proceed with caution. If you feel rushed, just tell the person just to slow down a little bit. You don't want to be rushed. Just slow down. You don't necessarily have to work in haste. What is supposed to be for you guys will be for you. I hope this video didn't come across too negative, guys, but I can only tell you what my experience has been. My experience in the teaching gig has been rather frustrating. It has been rather frustrating, and I know there's some people that go and they find a certain type of jobs and they've been okay, but I think the interview is pretty much a telltale sign of how professional the company is, how professional the business is, how the school's going to be, and your career going forward with them, your experience going forward with them. I think you can tell from the interview process. All right, guys. Well, want to add one thing. Some people say chase. I have in the past chased up schools. I have called them out and I have said, oh, okay, do you want, I've been for an interview, blah, 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 just checking in now. So you can also do that, feel it out and see if you want to do it, if the job is worth it for you. If you feel like that job was a fit for you, why not call them or send them an email? If you don't hear back from them, guys, just don't take it personal. Just don't take any part of it personal. It's just the way that it is. I'm just going to keep expressing that to you. It's not about you. It's about the school a lot of the time and their professionalism and whatever. As I said before, it's free and easy. It's just basic manners to let a person know either way if they've got a job, they've got the job, or if they don't. It's basic manners to say yes. This is how much you're going to be on. This is how much you're not going to be on. This is how many kids you're going to be working with. To let a person know upfront what they're going to be dealing with. I just think that's basic. But hey. Anyway, guys, well, thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, and ciao.